Hey everybody, my name is Joe and you're watching 360 Comics. This week I picked up a small Bronze Age collection with a big reward inside. Dare I say it? A grail. Stay tuned to see what I got. If you haven't checked out our 100th video from last week and entered the giveaway yet, now is the time to do so. I'm going to be picking a winner tomorrow, Thursday, April 14th, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right on Instagram Live. So don't miss out on that. You can win this book. And speaking of Instagram, I'm doing a 7,000 follower giveaway over on Instagram for this book right here, Batman 429. So you want to enter that while you're at it. All right, back to the topic at hand. We're talking about this Bronze Age collection that I picked up. And like I said before, it was pretty small. In fact, there were less than 60 books in the entire collection. But sometimes quality is more important than quantity, and that was definitely the case here. The other great thing about this collection is that I purchased it from the original owner, a guy named Scott, who was buying these books off the rack back in the early to mid 1970s and enjoying these stories and discovering these characters as they came out. I personally love that type of situation when buying collections, and we had some great conversations about what these books meant to him when he was a kid. And at the end of the day, I ended up giving him one of the books back because he said it was the one that he most vividly remembered. I gave him a nice bag and board to keep it in good shape, and he really appreciated that. Speaking of bags and boards, nothing in this collection was really bagged and boarded. There were a couple of Ziploc bags on things that he had put on more recently, but despite that, there weren't tons of condition issues. Everything is mid-grade. Nothing reached that high grade, but also nothing is like falling apart, low grade, no cover detaches or anything like that. So, not too bad for, just a bunch of comics in a box without bags and boards. Definitely no complaints there. I'm going to talk about what I paid for the collection at the end, so stick around for that. And along the way, we'll talk about some very close near misses to some really big keys that weren't in there. And of course, at the end, I'll show you the biggest books in the bunch. All right, we're going to do things a little bit different today. We're going to go in alphabetical order by title, shake things up a little bit. Kicking it off is Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue number 127, and it's a minor key. It is the first appearance of the third iteration of the Vulture. So not a very big one. It's not like it's Adrian Toomes, not that Vulture that we all know, but nonetheless, Bronze Age key, no complaints about that, and he's on the cover, definitely a bonus there. This was one of those near-miss books, though, because this is issue 127. Just 2 issues later, in number 129, we have a massive Bronze Age Grail, the first appearance of the Punisher. That was not in here. Missed out on that, but hey, all good. Still a great book. Next, we got Amazing Spider-Man 148. This is the issue where the Jackal's identity is revealed as Dr. Miles Warren. It's also the Jackal's first cover appearance. Now, this is a character that, if they decide to do something Clone Saga related, will certainly show up. I don't know if that's going to happen, but fingers crossed, because I actually really like the Spidey clone stuff. That being said, another near miss, because the very next issue is the first appearance of Peter Parker's clone, later to be named Ben Reilly. That wasn't in there either, but hey, it's all good. Moving on from Spider-Man, we've got Astonishing Tales, number 29. Now, be very careful with this book, because this is the reprint of the Guardians of the Galaxy's first appearance. That being said, it has the same cover, so you got to be careful. In fact, when I first pulled this out, I thought that's what it was, and I was like, hey, you got a nice book here. Then I looked at it closer, and I was like, oh wait, Astonishing Tales. Can be very confusing, especially because they both have a 25-cent price tag. They only came out like a handful of years apart. They have the same cover, mostly the same trade dress, and the same price. Don't get them mixed up. This one is considerably less valuable. You don't want to be spending $100 to $200 on this book. You want to make sure you get the real thing. This one still holds value, probably about $10, $12. People like to pick up those early reprints and get the stories cheaper. Moving on to Avengers now. There were 2 copies of this book, which I was really surprised to see, considering it was a smaller collection. Usually you don't see duplicates, but there were 2 of them here. Avengers number 111. And most of the time, when a character joins a superhero team, it's not that big of a deal. But I think this one has a little bit of extra value because it's Black Widow joining the Avengers. And that's something that we've seen in the MCU. She's been on the Avengers team over the last decade. She's a major, major character in the MCU. And for that reason, this book holds more value than a typical character joining a superhero team. She's on the cover, her name's on the cover, and that all adds to the allure of this book. Skipping ahead to number 124 in the Avengers run, first appearance of the Star Stalker, also an origin story of Mantis, and we know from what James Gunn has said, Mantis will be more of a focus in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm very excited to see that. So a little bit of potential on this book if that movie turns out to be really, really good. Moving on to the Defenders now, we've got the Defenders number 6. This is the first appearance of Cyrus Black, who is on the cover of the book. Not a major character or anything like that, not a big key, but just a nice little minor Bronze Age key. And I think this Defenders run is really, really underrated. I've been flipping through a couple of recently I've been flipping through some of the Defenders stuff and some of the Marvel feature books that have the Defenders in there, and it's good stuff, and I really, really have enjoyed it. Moving on from a Hulk team to the Hulk himself, we've got the Incredible Hulk number 161. And this is just a classic battle between the Hulk and Beast. It's a great cover, not a big key again by any stretch of the imaginations, but look at this cover. I personally love it. I'm a big fan of the Beast, big X-Men guy, and the blue fur. This was early in the days of his blue fur. Remember, in X-Men 1, he didn't have fur at all. He didn't get fur until the Bronze Age when it debuted in, what book was that? Amazing Adventures number 11. And the fur didn't turn blue until Amazing Adventures 14 or 15. I think it was 15. So this is one of the early appearances of him with the blue fur, and it's a great cover here. Another classic battle with Hulk. We've got number 193. And, classic battle with Doc Samson, one of the major Hulk characters. Now, when I first saw this, I kind of did a double take because I thought it was the first appearance of Doc Samson, which also has the same kind of blue up top in the trade dress. It's not. Don't get these mixed up. They look very similar. Now, I have to talk about another really sad near miss here. With the Hulk books, there was a 179 and a 183. Now, if you know anything about the Incredible Hulk run from the Bronze Age, you'll know that all three books in between those are huge keys. We've got the first cameo appearance, first full appearance, and second cameo appearance of Wolverine. His first 3 appearances ever. Massive, massive GRAIL keys. People are always looking for them. The first 2 are thousands at least. The third one, hundreds at least, if not thousands. They weren't in there. 179, it skipped 180, 181, 182, and went right to 183. Unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. Still some great Hulk books. No complaints. Then we've got Marvel feature number 9. We got AntMan here, and this is the first appearance of Dr. Nemesis. Not familiar with the character. In fact, no idea who they are. And that's probably why this is such a minor key. I don't know if the character showed up again. And if you know anything about Dr. Nemesis, put it in the comments below. Maybe I missed out on something that could be really, really cool. And I'd like to know. Next up, we've got Marvel Premiere number 7. This is a Doctor Strange book. And a little bit of MCU tie here. This is the first cover appearance of Wong, who, is a mainstay at this point in the MCU. Definitely going to be a bigger part of the movie coming out next month, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'm excited about that. And yeah, this is a great one. Really excited to find this one. Now, this next book, another near miss. We got Marvel Spotlight number 9. Now, the whole beginning of the Marvel Spotlight books are all they're all great. Number 1 is first Red Wolf. That's okay. Number 2 is first Werewolf by Night. Number 3 and 4 are also Werewolf by Night related keys, 4 being the first Darkhold. 5 is the massive one, an absolute grail, the first appearance of Ghost Rider. Now, this is the 5th appearance of Ghost Rider in the 9th book of the run. Obviously, the value goes down as you go through the appearances, first being the best, second, third, fourth, fifth. So by the time we get to this book, it's pretty low value, affordable key, but nonetheless, an early Ghost Rider appearance. A great cover with like a dinosaur, a snake. What is that? I have no idea, but whatever. Early Ghost Rider appearance, 5th appearance, and that one's in pretty good shape. I was actually pretty happy about what that one looks like. All right, we've got 2 more until we get into the bigger stuff, and then of course we'll talk money at the end. We've got Marvel Team Up number 8. This is the first appearance of Man Killer. I don't know anything about this character, but yeah, she's featured on the cover. She later becomes Amazon, which is a name that I've heard more often, but still not a big character by any means. Now, the cat is in this book. The cat does not have very many appearances at all under the name of the cat, but I really like to collect cat stuff. I mentioned in a video recently, I have the run 1 through 4 of Claws of the Cat, and I think she's a pretty underrated Bronze Age character. That being said, we're getting to our last book before the big ones. We've got number 246 of Thor, and this is just another classic battle cover between Thor, I almost said Hulk, Thor and Fire Lord. Really great cover. Them going at it right on the front. Featured very nicely. Nothing much more to say about that. Anyway, we're getting into the bigger ones now. And by bigger ones, I actually mean size-wise bigger ones. For the first couple, at least. We've got the spectacular SpiderMan Treasury Edition. And I did not put these in bags and boards yet, so hopefully that stays up. Most of these Treasury editions are not worth very much. This one does hold a little bit more value because it is Spider-Man, the premier property from Marvel. And it's really nice that it has the whole Sinister Six team on the front cover. I think it looks really great. This is a perfect display piece, in my opinion. I haven't read it. I don't know if it's good on the inside, but it looks really cool. And if you look at the back, it's got the same picture, but from the backwards side, which I thought that was really cool. We're looking from behind Spider-Man here. We're looking from behind the Sinister Six on the other side. So that was really cool. Now this next one, does hold a little bit more value. This is the battle between Superman and the Amazing Spider-Man. Great cover with both of them from this up top vantage point. Really cool. And then again, with the really nice back cover, we've got Spidey and Supes with that yellow background back to back. I thought that's really cool. Now, we're getting into some bigger ones here. Some ASM. Again, I know there were not particularly big ASM keys, but there were a couple that are worth noting. Now, this one, unfortunately, suffers from some serious condition issues. This is the death of Green Goblin, the original Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. This is kind of like a two-parter. The book before this, 121, is the death of Gwen Stacy. Then we've got the death of Green Goblin. Unfortunately, the centerfold is detached on this book, which brings the grade down considerably. Nonetheless, this is one of the chase keys from the Spider-Man run, and he had this one pulled out and put aside in a Ziploc baggie because he knew it was something special. Now, this next one, I completely overlooked this book. It's low grade. It's, again, one of the more low grade books, but I thought this was a different one. I did not think this was Man-Wolf's first appearance, but it is. Now, he's on the cover of a couple books, and I get them all mixed up, and this was one of those situations where I was like, yeah, that's not the first appearance. That's a later appearance, but I was wrong about that. This actually is the first appearance. Unfortunately, it's got some considerable issues with the condition. The cover, it's still attached, but it is very flimsy. It does not have a lot of integrity left in those staples, but it's still all intact and together. So this is just a nice low-grade reader copy to have. For those of you who don't know, a reader copy is a low-grade copy of a book, usually a more expensive book that you can read through without worrying about damaging or, decreasing the value because it's already pretty low grade. Now, these are great, but nothing holds a candle to this last book here. You saw it in the thumbnail already. You know what it was. I wasn't going to keep this one a secret. A massive book right now. Werewolf by Night 32, the first appearance of Moon Knight. He's got his own show on Disney Plus right now. He is the current big thing in Marvel. Everyone is hyped up about this character, and I don't blame them because 1, this character is awesome, 2, this character is underrated, and 3, the show has been great so far. The 3rd episode just premiered today. I very much enjoyed it, and I'm going to remind you guys tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel, myself and Bronzeville Comics will be doing a live review of episode 3, along with predictions and speculation talk and all that stuff. Join in the live chat with us and contribute to the conversation. Anyway, this book is the reason I ended up picking up this collection. The seller, Scott, he was kind of looking for a buyer for this book because he knew it had gone up in value. He remembered it from his collection as a child, and he saw Moon Knight on TV and said, you know what, I think I have a Moon Knight book. And guess what? Out of all the 60 books he had one Moon Knight book, but it was the Moon Knight book. And that is so awesome that he saw this book on the shelf and was like, that's a really cool character. I want to buy this. Back in 1975 or whenever this came out. And to this day, this character is an awesome character. So I just think that is so cool. Now, I talked to him last week about this book. I made him an offer. He said, let me think about it. I ended up coming up on the offer, and we also lumped in the rest of the books. So this copy in particular, I think it's between a 3.5 and a 4.5. It is the lower end of mid-grade. Not a fantastic copy, but nonetheless, this book is hard to find. It's not a number 1, which were printed in much higher quantity, and it's not a major run like Spider-Man or X-Men. It is Werewolf by Night. It's not one of the runs that had a super high print run. And because it's issue 32 of that run, it was considerably lower than the earlier issues. So this book is hard to find. I also had someone told me recently that they think that there was some sort of printing issue with this book, which would further decrease the print run. I'm not sure if that's true. I couldn't verify that online anywhere. But if you know anything, leave it in the comments below. Anyway, Werewolf by Night 32. Absolute grail. This one is staying in the personal collection without a doubt. Now let's talk about what I paid for the collection. Typically, I try to double or triple my money when I buy stuff like this. Sometimes even try to quadruple or quintuple my money if it's, especially a larger quantity of things that's going to take me a while to get through. That being said, this was a smaller collection, much easier to handle, much easier to move things. And, I really wanted this book. I really, really wanted it and was willing to pay closer to market value for the book. So for everything I showed you, plus, the rest, which was, Bronze Age filler issues, I paid $750. Now, this book, raw, in the condition that it's in, we kind of had it at a value of about $800. Both myself and the seller agreed on that based on eBay listings, recent eBay completed sales. That being said, I was willing to pay close to market on this and then get the rest for free. Now, I'm not going to be able to double my money on this collection. Maybe if I really stretch things and get top dollar, I'll be able to double up to $1,500. And that would be if I were to sell everything, which I'm not selling this book. My goal with this collection purchase is to keep a lot of this stuff. I'm going to keep this reader copy of First Man-Wolf because I don't own that book. I'm going to keep this book as well because it is a major Spider-Man key despite the detached centerfold. So I'm going to keep a lot of this stuff and I'm going to sell the rest and try to recoup some of the value. If I can get back $200, maybe $300, if I really stretch it in value for the stuff that I'm not keeping, I will be very, very happy about that because that just means, let's say I sell $250. That basically means I got this book plus a bunch of other stuff for $500. I'm happy with that. This book, I think, is a very good long-term book. And I'm not talking long-term like a year or two, because who knows what the popularity of the Moon Knight character is going to do in that amount of time. I'm talking 5, 10, 15 years down the line. I think this is a great book to have for the long haul, and I will certainly be reading it and then getting it slabbed up. It's in the kind of condition where I feel like I can read it and still, it's not going to bump down a grade, but get it a nice clean and press, send it off to CGC and get it slabbed up. Hope for that 4.5, but I would be happy at a 3.5 or 4.0 as well. That being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a small collection, but man, it really, really meant something to me. Shout out to Scott for the sale. Much appreciated to him for keeping these comics all those years. And shout out to you guys for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. That would be much appreciated. Your support is always great. And until next time, turn the page, wash your hands.